Dear Radiant Leo, what if I told you without hesitation that God is preparing 7 divine miracles for your life, and the 7th one will break you open, not with pain, but with overwhelming joy? What if I told you that your presence here, in this exact moment, is not coincidence but sacred timing? Welcome to Eternal Mindfulness, where we don't just talk about horoscopes, walk through the soul's transformation. If you are here watching this right now, Leo, then hear me clearly. This is a divine appointment. Something higher than you, beyond your mind's understanding, has brought you to this moment for a reason. You are not being tested anymore. You are being chosen. And today, I will reveal to you the 7 miracles that God is sending directly into your life. Not just to reward you but to remind you of who you really are. Each miracle is tied to a layer of your soul that is being reborn. And the final one, the 7th, will touch a forgotten part of your heart and awaken it in a way that will change everything. You are not here by chance. You are here because your soul has whispered yes. So take a breath, Leo. Slow down. Ground yourself in the now. This video is not just information. It is an energetic transmission. And if you are open even just a little, your entire vibration will begin to shift. Your past will stop holding power over you. Your future will become magnetic. And your present moment will become the exact place where miracles begin. Before we move forward, let me pause and say this with full presence. Thank you. Thank you for being here, for watching this, for showing up for yourself. Every like, every comment, every subscription is not just support for this channel, it's a signal to the universe that you are ready to receive what's been waiting for you all along. And I promise you, by the time you reach the end of this message, you'll understand why you were guided here today. Let me ask you this, Leo. What did your heart go through to lead you to this exact moment? Because today is not just about listening to predictions. It's about remembering, reconnecting, reclaiming. It's about honoring your fire, the part of you that refused to give up, even when no one saw how much you were holding inside. 7 miracles are coming. They are not random. They are soul-designed, heaven-backed, and destined to reach you when you stop surviving and start allowing. So now I invite you to interact. Type below in the comments. I am ready to receive every miracle made for me. This is more than a sentence. It is a spiritual contract. A vibration of permission. A key that unlocks the gates. And stay with me, Leo, because what I'm about to share is not only mystical, it's practical. These miracles span across your finances, love life, health, career, family, soul journey, and your deepest dream, the one you buried long ago, thinking it was too late. But it's not too late. You are right on time. And what you are about to hear is nothing short of extraordinary. Are you ready? Let's begin. Leo, your journey with the first miracle begins here, where your light is no longer something the world merely notices, but something it's finally ready to reward. There is a quiet yet powerful shift taking place in your energy field, and it's centered around something tangible, something measurable, something that has often felt like the missing piece when everything else seemed to align: abundance. Financial abundance, to be specific, but not the kind that comes and goes with luck or hustle. This is deeper. This is the kind of wealth that forms when your inner fire is finally seen as valuable by the outer world. This is not about chasing money. You were never meant to. Leo, your role was always to radiate. You were born to lead with presence, to create through passion, and to speak from the solar center of your being. And now, as your solar ruler activates your 2nd and 10th houses of value and vocation, something ancient and undeniable begins to awaken. The world is starting to catch up with what your soul has known all along: you are worth more. Not just in character, but in currency. The very things you used to give away freely, your ideas, your energy, your presence, are becoming magnetized assets. They now draw attention, opportunity, and yes, compensation. You may find that something which once slipped through your fingers, an idea, a pitch, a connection, returns. Not because you chased it, but because your vibration rose high enough for it to return to you, on your level. This is how alignment works. There's no need to force what is already destined. Just as a tree doesn't beg for sunlight, you don't need to plead for wealth. Your light is enough. But here's the secret: to receive, you must believe not in the economy, not in market trends, but in yourself. Your creative essence is your currency. Your voice, your vision, your presence, these are not hobbies. They are sacred tools of creation, and they deserve to be honored as such. Now is the time to invest not only in what makes money but in what makes meaning. Take a closer look at where your energy flows. Are you pouring your brilliance into a container that leaks? Or are you building a life where the vessel is whole and strong, where each action compounds into long-term stability? A gentle but powerful teaching reminds us: when we honor what we already have, what we long for begins to move toward us. Gratitude isn't passive. It's energetic alignment. It's the light that signals you're ready. Not desperate. Not striving. But steady. So what can you do now, practically speaking? Create 4 sacred containers for your abundance: 1 for saving, 1 for growing, 1 for giving, and 1 for becoming. Saving teaches you presence. Growing shows you what's possible. Giving keeps your hands open. Becoming, investing in your own development, keeps your light sharp and purposeful. And above all, speak life into your finances. Don't curse your lack. Don't resent your past. Whisper blessings over your wallet, your business, your bank account. Write it down. Say it aloud. Affirm: money flows to me because I am a source of limitless creation. This isn't magical thinking. It's magnetic being. Let the fire within you fuel what you build. Let that same fire attract those who recognize your worth and are ready to honor it in form. Because you've done the work. You've shown up. You've kept going when no one was watching. And now, Leo, it's your time to receive, not because you chased it, but because you became it. And as this miracle unfolds, remember, the money is not the blessing. You are. The money is just the echo. Love, for Leo, is rarely a quiet thing. It is often bold, burning, unmistakable, yet beneath all the fire, there lives a yearning not for drama, but for depth. And this next miracle is not arriving to stir chaos in your heart, but to offer a kind of recognition so intimate, so steady, that it silences every doubt you've ever whispered in the dark. A soul one that has wandered lifetimes parallel to yours is now being guided into your orbit. But this meeting isn't about fixing something broken. It's about coming home. In astrology, when the energies of the lovers or the Two of Cups emerge, it often signals more than just romance. It speaks of a mirror, the kind that doesn't show you who you pretend to be, but reflects who you are when you stop trying. The miracle of this moment lies not in a fairy tale union, but in a connection that makes striving unnecessary. Here, there is no need to perform. You are met with ease. And that, for a Leo who has long burned to be seen beneath the surface, is the truest kind of magic. Love, in its highest form, is not something you chase. It is something you return to. And sometimes, it's not found in the fireworks, but in a glancia shared silencia breath that feels like a memory. You may not even realize it right away. But your heart will. It always does. Think of it like this. Imagine standing before a still lake, watching the sky reflect back at you. It doesn't judge. It doesn't demand. It simply shows you the truth in stillness. That is what this next chapter of love may look like. Not as a rescue, but as a remembrance. Not to complete you, but to remind you that you were never missing. There is a teaching that says, when you stop clinging, love finds you. When you stop trying to control the shape of your relationships, the right one takes form. This person, whether new or someone returning with a softened heart, is not arriving to fill a void, but to share space. Their presence will not take from you, but reflect back to you the richness already within. And so before they come, or if they are already near, ask yourself, have I made room for this kind of love? Not by changing yourself, but by clearing away what isn't yours to carry anymore. The need to prove. The ache to earn what should be freely given. The habit of shrinking just to fit someone else's comfort. Lay that down now. It is safe to outgrow the version of yourself that begged to be chosen. True love will not require your performance. It will not exhaust your flame. In fact, it will steady it. In numerology, the number 6 carries the vibration of harmony and emotional balance. The number 33, a master number, resonates with compassion and unconditional love. These frequencies are gentle guides reminding you, the love you're calling in is as much about inner integration as it is about external partnership. And so the path begins not with pursuit, but with presence. Return to your body. Return to your breath. Ask with sincerity, am I loving myself in a way that teaches others how to love me? You do not have to shout to be heard. You do not have to dim to be safe. This miracle arrives when you simply are. And when it does, it won't crash in with fanfare. It may begin with just a look, a breath, a moment of stillness that feels like eternity. And suddenly, you'll realize, your heart was never waiting for love. It was waiting to be recognized. There is a moment subtle but powerful when the body no longer asks for more effort, but for deeper listening. After the longing of the heart has been witnessed and the hunger for soul-level connection has begun to ease, what remains is the temple, the body that has held it all. This next miracle, then, is not loud or dramatic. It arrives like sunlight through a window that was always there but finally opened. It is the restoration of your health not merely as the absence of illness, but as the return of vitality, clarity, and harmony between your physical vessel and your inner light. For Leo, a sign ruled by the sun, energy is not just something you spend, it is something you radiate. But even the sun needs moments of stillness. Even the strongest flame flickers when the air is unsteady. And so, if you've been feeling drained, foggy, or like you're moving through life without that usual spark, know that this too is part of the realignment. The burnout, the fatigue, the aches, they are not punishments. They are messages. Gentle, persistent invitations to come home to yourself. Astrologically, when transits activate your 6th house or touch upon the vitality-driven angles of your chart, the body speaks up. And when it does, it often echoes what the heart could not put into words. This kind of healing doesn't ask you to fix, it asks you to feel. To pay attention to what you've ignored in service of survival. To unlearn the story that healing must be hard, or that rest must be earned. In energy terms, what's shifting now is your ability to receive life directly, not filtered through urgency or effort, but through presence. And there is a quiet wisdom found in the small rituals, rising with the morning light, walking barefoot across the earth, nourishing yourself with food that feels alive, not just filling. These are not glamorous acts, but they are sacred ones. One of the simplest yet most powerful truths passed down through ancient teachings is this: the mind shapes the body, but it is the body that frees the mind. When you learn to relax not just your shoulders, but your expectations, when you breathe not to get somewhere, but to simply feel where you are, that's when healing begins. Not from the outside in, but from the inside out. Tarot offers a beautiful mirror here. The star reminds us that healing is a return to flow, to innocence, to trust and renewal. Strength reminds us that softness is power, and that the courage to stay open is greater than any force we can push. And the Ace of Cups is the overflowing beginning, the moment the body, heart, and spirit say yes to life again. From a more grounded perspective, begin simply. Give yourself enough sleep, not just in hours, but in quality. Let the sun touch your skin each morning, even if only for a moment. Add turmeric to your meals, embrace green-leafed foods, and drink water as if it were medicine, because it is. Move gently: yoga, walking, slow stretching, even standing barefoot in silence. These are forms of prayer written into the body. There's no need to rush your recovery. Healing is not a race, it's a remembering. You are not broken. You are adjusting. You are listening. And with each intentional choice, each breath that honors your body's rhythm, you are calling the flame back into your chest, not to burn, but to warm. Not to blaze, but to glow. So speak this softly to yourself each day: I choose the light. I allow my body to recover through love. And trust that the moment you choose peace, the body begins to follow. Not because you force it to, but because you've finally given it permission. There comes a point in every journey when hiding is no longer possible, when the version of you that once fit neatly behind the scenes can no longer shrink to make others comfortable. This next phase, the miracle of your career, is not just about achievement. It is about alignment. It is the moment when the path you walk in the outer world finally reflects the strength and clarity that have been maturing in silence within you. This is not about ambition for ambition's sake. It's about answering a deeper call, to let your work become an extension of your essence, not just your resume. As Leo, the archetype of the performer, the leader, the radiant center, you were never meant to blend in. You were born with a light, not to dominate but to inspire, to warm, to gather others around something authentic. And yet, for many of you, the journey has not been simple. Perhaps your voice was dismissed too early. Perhaps your ideas were misunderstood, or the timing simply wasn't right. But now, as transiting forces begin to align with your career axis, the lights are coming back on. And not just any lights, the kind that are aimed directly at you. This is the return of visibility, but not the kind you have to chase. It's the kind that finds you when your vibration is ready. The kind that recognizes you not just for what you've done, but for who you've become. A woman with dark hair may appear perhaps a mentor, a collaborator, someone who sees what others missed. But her arrival is not luck. It is a reflection. She sees you because you've started to see yourself. There is a principle, often shared in the wisdom traditions, that says, when you let go of striving to become, you arrive as what you always were. That is the essence of this professional shift. It's not that you're suddenly more capable. It's that you're finally ready to stop apologizing for your power. Now is the time to refresh what represents you. Reread your bio not as a list of achievements, but as a story of purpose. Rewrite your resume with the voice of someone who no longer doubts their value. Submit that application you've been holding off on because a part of you wondered if you were ready. You are. In fact, readiness is not measured by perfection. It's measured by presence. And you have more of that than ever before. Your energy, right now, is highly magnetic. Amber orange evokes creative confidence. Ruby red awakens inner courage. Golden bronze reminds you of your royalty, not a crown worn to rule over others, but a warmth that invites others into their own greatness. Let these colors infuse your spaces, your wardrobe, your rituals. Let them remind you, you are not stepping into the spotlight by accident. You're stepping into it because the world needs the medicine only you can carry. And remember this, your work is not just what you do. It is how you serve. It is how your spirit touches the world through form. Whether you write, teach, build, heal, or lead, what you offer is not just a product. It's a presence. And that presence is now being requested. Affirm this gently, my work is how I serve the world. And I am compensated in full for the value I bring. Let these words become a steady hum in your day, a quiet certainty in your chest. The lights are on. The curtain is rising. And finally, Leo, the stage is yours not to perform, but to be. Sometimes healing doesn't arrive as a breakthrough, it arrives as a quiet return. After the glow of career recognition and the gentle restoration of the body, this next movement draws us back to something even more personal, our roots. The relationships we carry in our blood, the names and memories woven into our bones. Family, for many, is both our first story and our deepest mirror. And in this chapter, a subtle but unmistakable shift begins to form where what once felt cold or disconnected starts to soften, thaw, and move toward renewal. This is not necessarily about sudden forgiveness or dramatic reunions. It is about the slow and sacred work of seeing each other again, not as we hoped they would be, but as they are. Sometimes it begins with a phone call. Other times with silence, finally broken by truth. In some cases, it may begin with a dream, a fleeting image, a familiar voice, a strange comfort in the middle of the night. This is how life often speaks when words fail, not through explanation, but through intuition. In astrology, the fourth house governs home, ancestry, and emotional roots. When this area is activated, particularly during key lunar or nodal alignments, we are drawn back not to dwell in the past, but to understand it more clearly. And in doing so, we often release ourselves from it. That release might show up through a family event, a wedding, a remembrance, a shared celebration where the unspoken things finally begin to breathe. These moments offer a kind of karmic grace. They are opportunities to shift the emotional legacy we've inherited, and sometimes repeated, unconsciously. There is a teaching that reminds us, when one person in a lineage heals, the entire tree shifts. And healing doesn't always look like closeness. Sometimes it looks like clarity. Sometimes it means choosing to love someone from a distance with a peaceful heart. Other times, it means letting your guard fall long enough to see someone's pain behind their pride. In this space, something old begins to dissolve. The stories that once defined you are no longer the only ones available. If you feel a stirring to reconnect or at least reflect, start simply. Write a letter to a family member you've struggled with. You don't need to send it. What matters is that it's said, even on paper. You can also begin tracking your dreams for 3 nights. Pay attention to patterns, symbols, or people who appear. There is wisdom moving through these realms, asking to be heard. Dreams are often the soft language of unresolved bonds seeking peace. And in parallel with this emotional returning, there is another current moving, a call to journey. Not just outwardly, but inward. Perhaps an unexpected trip appears. Perhaps you're drawn to a place you've never been, but feels oddly familiar. That's no accident. The land you walk often carries energy that awakens parts of your spirit still sleeping. During this time, you may come across an object, a stone, a symbol, a written note that resonates so deeply it feels like it chose you. These are not trinkets. They are reminders. Anchors. Proof that the universe speaks in small, undeniable ways. Tarot offers gentle guidance here. The 6 of Cups shows how memory and innocence guide healing. The Chariot asks you to move forward, but not with force, with purpose. And the Wheel of Fortune reminds us that cycles turn when we're finally ready to let go of resistance. If someone comes to mind right now, a family member, a name you've tried to forget, consider writing it in the comments. Not as an act of obligation, but as a quiet invitation for peace to enter. There is no greater offering you can give the lineage you come from than your willingness to feel, to understand, and to let love move again. There is a moment on every spiritual path when words fall away, when logic no longer matters, and what rises instead is a deep, unspeakable knowing. It doesn't arrive with fanfare. It doesn't come wrapped in applause. It often shows up in stillness, like a memory you didn't know you missed, returning home through the back door of your soul. This is the nature of the final miracle. It's not a new thing, not a separate blessing, but rather a soft culmination of all the growth, all the fire, all the grief, and all the grace that have shaped who you are now. It is the miracle of integration. In this sacred moment, what once felt scattered begins to harmonize. The wounds you healed in silence now hold the light that guides your next steps. The battles you fought, whether in finances, relationships, your body, your voice, your lineage, are no longer just stories of pain. They've become the very soil where your peace now grows. And here's what's most profound. What returns to you isn't just what you once wanted. It's what you've finally become ready to receive. Sometimes, it takes losing something completely to understand how much it mattered. A dream abandoned, a version of life you gave up on because the world told you it was too much or you were not enough. But the universe does not forget what was born from love. Even when you stop reaching for it, that seed of longing remains alive, held in a space outside of time. And when your frequency shifts, when your actions, your beliefs, your healing align, then, quietly, that dream begins to move again. This return is rarely loud. It doesn't demand attention. It simply arrives with a presence so familiar that your body recognizes it before your mind does. You may find yourself pausing, placing your hand on your heart, whispering words that once felt too hopeful to believe, "I was never forgotten." And in that moment, tears may come not from sadness, but from the sweetness of finally being seen. Of realizing that despite all the detours and delays, nothing was wasted. Nothing was ever truly lost. In astrology, the sixth gift of integration echoes the final houses where legacy, transcendence, and completion live. It's here that you step into not just the blessings of what you've manifested, but the embodiment of who you now are. In the wisdom traditions, it is said that the lotus does not bloom on command. It opens when it is safe. When the light has returned. When the roots have grown strong enough to hold it. You are that lotus now. And the miracle is not just what blooms, but how you've survived long enough to bloom at all. Let this final gift be your reminder: you don't need to do more to deserve what's coming. You don't need to prove, perform, or perfect anything. The universe does not operate on merit, it responds to resonance. And your resonance is rising. You are not a mistake. Your timing is not off. The unfolding has always been designed to bring you here, to this breath, this awareness, this recognition that you are whole, not someday, not when you finish healing, but now. So if you feel something stirring inside, a silent return of something you almost forgot, write it below. Speak it. Honor it. Even if it's just a word, a dream, a name, a prayer. This is your sacred reclaiming. This is the miracle that reminds you, you were never forsaken. You were being prepared for this. As you reach the end of this sacred journey with me today, take a deep breath, not just with your lungs, but with your entire being. Because what you've just witnessed isn't merely a list of blessings or predictions. These 7 miracles are echoes of your inner work, the fruits of the quiet battles you fought alone, the gentle confirmation that your path has not been in vain. You didn't stumble upon this video by chance. The fact that you're here, right now, absorbing these words, means that you are being called into a deeper awakening, one where your healing is no longer just for you, but becomes a radiant source for others. Perhaps you've forgotten just how powerful your light is. Perhaps you've been dimming it to protect others, or waiting for a sign to finally allow yourself to rise. This is the sign. Not because it's loud, but because it's true. Every miracle spoken today is already circling your field, waiting for one thing: your permission. And that permission doesn't require you to be perfect, or ready, or fixed. It only asks that you be willing. You are not here to chase life, you are here to create it. You are not here to fit in, you are here to remind others what it means to stand out with grace. So ask yourself now, gently and honestly, which of these miracles felt like it was written just for me? What moment stirred something ancient inside me, like a door creaking open in my soul? And even more importantly, What will I do differently from this moment forward, now that I know I am not forgotten? Let this be your invitation to take inspired action. Say yes to the opportunity you've been hesitant to pursue. Have the conversation your heart has been waiting to begin. Rest when your body calls for stillness, and speak when your voice rises with truth. Every step you take from this moment on has the power to awaken even more miracles, not only for yourself, but for those around you. Because here's the truth, you're not just meant to receive miracles. You are becoming one. When you live authentically, when you lead with compassion, when you say yes to your healing, you silently give others permission to do the same. The ripple starts with you. So if this video resonated with you in any way, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with 3 people who may need this light today. And if you're ready to welcome these 7 divine gifts into your life, speak it into existence by writing in the comments, "I am ready to receive all 7 miracles." That simple act is not small, it's a declaration to the universe that you are open, aligned, and here. And finally, if this space feels like home to your soul, stay connected. Like this video, subscribe to Eternal Mindfulness, and allow yourself to be gently guided as more sacred messages unfold. Thank you truly for your presence, your trust, and your beautiful heart. The fact that you are still here, listening, means that your time has come. The light has always been with you. Now let the world see it.